I wanted to make this video guide because I have seen many people struggle to get iridium in Skull Caverns, getting deep enough to even find the notes without dying, and also getting to floor 100 as requested by Mr. Key. Because it seems like every time someone asks, the answer is bring staircases to go all the way down, or use a slingshot like crazy to blow up everything, or just be a pro player so you can get super deep with thousands of iridium. So I decided I would make a simpler guide for the average player. So if you struggle with that advice, you can still find the way to legitimately, as Mr. Key would say, get to floor 100 of Skull Caverns. With no problem, no suffering, no cheats, and most importantly, still keeping it as a fun experience. That is the point of the game, right? I love Skull Caverns with all my heart and would love to help you enjoy the journey as well. I'll be dividing this video in two parts. Number 1, the preparation, so everything you need to do to have a successful dive before you even get into the caverns, and then tips for when you're actually there, what to do to speed things up, and how to get deeper easier. But anyway, let's get right into it. First of all, I wanted to remind you that there is really no rush to get to floor 100 or getting loads of iridium. It's not even needed for perfection actually. You will start to feel the need to get iridium once you want to upgrade your tools more, once you want to get to Ginger Island, or just because of crafting recipes. But as I have said in previous videos, this game is one that you can enjoy at your own pace. So please, do not feel like your first dive to Skull Caverns you already need to come back with all the iridium you will ever need. The truth is that probably for your first 10 to 20 times going, you will not get very deep. You may not get a ton of resources and, let's hope not, but you may even end up at the doctor's with an emergency surgery. No worries, this is nothing to be sad about, it's completely normal, and if it really was that terrible, then you can just restart the day, okay? I guess that the point that I'm trying to make is, don't worry if it takes too many attempts to do it, but rather enjoy the dives and learn on what can be better for the next one. Once you have made it to floor 100, you might still need to come back, so take your time and let's get ready for some dives. So, the preparation. I usually like to get to a sweet spot before attempting to dive. Getting to max level mining and combat, it's a good idea, but not fundamental. It just makes it more efficient when gathering resources or gives you more health. If you're curious, for combat, I like to go for the Fighter Profession at level 5 that gives 10% more damage to all attacks plus 15 more HP, and then Defender at the level 10, which just gives you 25 more HP. For mining, I go for Miner at level 5 so I can get more ore overall, and then depending on how much I am in need of coal by the late game, Blacksmith or Prospector. I usually go by Prospector though. I don't know why I feel the need to hoard all of my bars, but don't be like me. Another good tip to prepare yourself is indeed to get to the bottom of the regular mines. I know other people say to wait until you're going to Skull Caverns because it makes the enemies a bit buffer, but the truth is that they will not be that more harder to take care of. To the contrary, they know we'll have a chance to drop prismatic shards, which are fundamental. No, not for the museum, unfortunately. Sorry, Gunther. But because if you take a prismatic shard and stand between these 3 pillars in the desert, then you will get the one and only Galaxy Sword. This is the best sword in the game, at least in its unevolved state. So getting one for the caverns is so useful. If you can't seem to have enough luck at it, your next best option is the Lava Katana, which you can buy from Marlon once you have reached the bottom of the regular mines. I know it looks pricey, that is why I recommend the other one, but it is a good investment if you want to get to Skull Caverns as soon as possible and can't seem to have enough luck with a prismatic shard. The next thing to look into would be your pickaxe. I recommend getting it upgraded to gold for these dives, since these rocks are a bit buffer, so it will require more swings to break them. Ideally, you get the iridium pickaxe, but if you're still struggling for iridium, gold would do just fine. These are the only tools I would worry about bringing. The rest of them are not necessary really when doing a mine dive, and they just end up taking space. Now let's talk about rings. My suggested combo would be a glowstone ring, which you can craft at level 4 mining, and a burglar's ring, so that the enemies that we encounter can have a bigger chance of dropping double iridium, coal, and other useful resources. You can get this one by completing the monster eradication goal of the dust sprites. If this is not your first time going and you have a few pieces of iridium already, I would suggest that you invest on upgrading your pickaxe and or crafting an iridium band. Both of these require iridium bars, but it is probably the best thing to spend them on because of how much easier they make mining. Now, the question you've been waiting for. How the heck do I survive these monsters, especially the serpents? Well, that is why a good sword is a good idea. But the truth is that there is no way you can make it without some good food for healing. Here are my best suggestions. Number 1, mushrooms. This because they're easy to obtain, especially if you pick the best option and went for the mushroom cave. And 2, because it is easily accessible since the early game. Just don't sell them or eat them ever, and you will have plenty of them to go to Skull Caverns. Just not the red mushrooms, okay? Read your labels, guys. Another good idea is salads from Gus at the Saloon. It is the best health for your money and they are always available. So if you're filthy rich and don't want to grind other healing food, these are a good option. But my favorite would definitely be gold quality cheese. The truth is that maintaining a couple of cows happy, it's not that complicated, and once they have enough love, they produce a large milk every day, making it super easy to access gold quality cheese. I just always save them for this particular reason, because it can heal over 100 HP. Yes, that much with only one string cheese. Now the good thing about all these foods is that none of these have buffs, meaning that you can have as many of these as you want and still not remove the effect of a food or drink that gives you special powers. So I also recommend bringing a meal and a drink to power you up. You can eat whatever you feel it's easier to find or gives you the boosts you need. Know that you can get buffs from food and from drinks without affecting each other, but if you have a meal with buffs and then eat a different meal with buffs, then it will replace whatever you had before. I know it's confusing, but basically it means pick one dish, one drink, and your health helper of choice. My picks are triple shot espresso, spicy eels, and gold quality cheese. You can cook the triple shot from your house, or you can trade diamonds at the desert trader for them. I recommend you cook them, of course. Spicy eels are the most easily obtained by trading rubies at the desert trader, since I don't use them for anything else, other than gifting Emily, I guess. But once you're in the mines, these darn serpents also have a chance to drop them. So, free real estate.
It's free real estate.
Plus, I like to bring these ones to only have one type of meal in my inventory, because space will be tight. Now, the next set of things to prepare are completely optional but definitely help you get deeper in only one day. Starting with a desert warp totem. Pam gets to the bus until after 10 AM, 4 whole hours after you wake up, which can be the only thing you need to get a few levels down. So, to take the most out of that time, the best thing is to get there as soon as possible. You do this by getting a desert warp. It can be crafted, but it requires iridium ores, and the recipe also costs you iridium bars. Or you can trade 1 for 3 omni geodes from the desert traded. Much better deal when you're just starting. Now, I wouldn't worry about a farm totem to get back home because I believe your time is more valuable in the mines, but that is up to your preference. I will elaborate more on my point of view later in the video. Next up, bombs. I know that this is what pros use, but I am not talking about explosive ammo, which yeah, it is pretty effective, but I'm talking about regular bombs. I think that 15 to 25 bombs is more than enough for a serious run, especially because some monsters in the mines will also drop more, and you have a chance of finding more in treasure chests. My favorite ones are the regular bombs, which I think are the perfect size for the price. But use whatever you get, especially if you just get them from drops.
It's free.
You can get yourself a good supply of bombs by buying them from the dwarf. You will need to know Dwarvish, so be sure to donate all of the dwarf scrolls to the museum before attempting to talk to him, since 1.6, bombs brought from the dwarf are way more expensive. So, if you want, you can look into crafting them. Or, guess what? The desert trader also sells them. Man, it's like this guy knows exactly what we need, huh? Just save all of your quartz for him. I mean, what else are you going to use them for? If you're worried about getting refined quartz, just recycle broken glasses and CDs, dude. Plus, they're not even that special. And lastly, the last thing I would recommend bringing is staircases. But Mrs. Smuthy, I thought you would teach me how to get there without staircases. Well, yes, but I do like to pack a few staircases for one reason alone: infested floors. When my goal is to get deeper in the caverns, I never ever stop at an infested floor. It just takes too long to progress, with not a considerable amount of positive outcome in return. So yeah, these staircases are for speeding things up, not for skipping the challenge. However, I do believe that there might be instances in which you will encounter a lot of rocks that don't have stairs or shafts underneath them. So if you feel like you've been on a floor for a long time, don't worry, it's okay to use a staircase every now and then. Now, I know I've been tacking for 10 years, but the truth is that your inventory should look like this. Not too crazy once you see it like this, huh? Plus, I like to pack one of all of these so I can already have a visual of how much of something I have collected already while I'm still diving, leaving you with a total of 23 inventory slots available for all sorts of goodies, because all of this will be used up. My last recommendation for preparation would be for you to take a rabbit's foot to this dude, which in return will give you a lucky charm, so your daily luck increases a tiny bit. It might not be too much, but every bit of help counts. Now let's get into the actual diving. First, I recommend going on an ideal day, so a lucky day. When you watch a TV, the guy should be holding a star drop on his head. This will mean that you will have the biggest chance of stairs, shafts, chests, and more. I like to have a chest in my room where I leave all these extra things so that if I see it's a good day for a dive, I just drop whatever I am carrying in there, pick up what I need, and then immediately warp there. Don't worry, your crops and animals will be okay for one day. Once you're here, immediately eat your food with buffs and drink your coffee, then run to Skull Caverns. I wanted to mention that I also usually have a chest in here where I leave prismatic shards I find, things I will just need in here, and other miscellaneous, but it is not important. Once you're in here, stay alert. Things can go down really quickly. If you're hurting below half of your health bar, then eat something. It is better to do it at this point than waiting for your bar to look red when something fast can happen. It's okay, you can get more cheese, and it is collected for this reason. As I mentioned before, there is no point in spending your time fighting monsters. If you can run away to break more rocks, do that. Fight only to defend yourself or to open the way. There is a chance they will drop ladders, so it is not entirely bad. I just have found that if I start fighting, I waste a lot of time. In the caverns, you will find loads of goodies, but don't fool yourself. It is always better to run for the ladder or shaft than to go around and collect literally everything. I know it looks like we're leaving a lot behind, but if you think about it, the faster you get down, the more iridium you will find overall, which is more valuable than stopping for some copper, bones from crates, or other silly things. Now, about your inventory. It will surprise you how fast it gets full. I always like to make sure I have at least some open space in case I find something good. I don't like missing stuff because I didn't have enough inventory. So every few floors down, I pause and organize things. If I find some things that I do not consider super valuable, I straight up toss them. Hey, you gotta give that upgraded trash can some good use, right? As part of what I consider worthy of tossing, I would say artifacts that I have already donated, sap, wood, or clay, extra shoes or lame swords that I'm not going to use, mushrooms, unless I'm planning to eat them in this run, etc. Basically, I just keep gems, ores, and whatever I feel like I could actually use. My next step would be for you to find your flow on changing slots. What I mean by this is finding what works best for you to get from pickaxe to sword to food to bombs, all super mega fast. Depending on what platform you play, this might vary, also with how you feel more comfortable. But what I like to do is keep my inventory like this. I play with a controller, so with pressing one button, I jump back and forth, left and right, really easy and fast, but one space at a time, whereas with a mouse and keyboard you can pick between slot 1 and 8 really fast. I like this setup because I know that if I'm fighting and need healing, I just need to change once and my cheese will be right there, which can save my life in tricky situations. And I know if I press the change button, but going to the opposite side, then I get a bomb, fast and easy. So try different methods and see what works best for you. The important thing is to find what suits you best and stick to it, so you can develop some muscle memory to find things faster. I do not know anything about RNG and how it works in the mines, But from my experience, I have found that it is better to not break all stones together, but to break one or two, then move to a different part, and so on. I feel like this always helps me find staircases faster. I might be crazy though, so you tell me how you find that ladders spawn more easily. If you were wondering when should you use your bombs, my tip is to only use them when you see 3 or more rocks together that you know will give you goodies, like here. If you see, I know I will get many resources from this cluster of rocks. Plus, since there are many rocks together, my chance of at least one of them being a shaft or stairs is bigger. Obviously, when you see this crazy thing with many ore nuts, it is good to get it. But if it is only 1 or 2, I feel like it's better to just pickaxe it. Unless it is iridium ore. Why? Well, because with the pickaxe it takes forever to get. So I place a bomb, go pick it somewhere else while it goes off, and then come back to get it. If I have accumulated any bombs from enemies, I try to use them too, of course. I actually use them as soon as I get them, so I can save all my normal bombs for future dives. And this way I don't have to carry 3 different inventory slots on 3 different types of bombs. I mentioned this earlier, but if you encounter an infested floor, I recommend just skipping it. It is not worth your time if what you're trying to do is get to floor 100. This is when those staircases will be useful. But if you have been on a floor for a while and the stairs don't seem to show up, don't feel guilty from using one every now and then. Though I have discovered that usually when I can't seem to find a ladder, it is because it's already there. I just haven't seen it and just need to explore the whole floor. Another tip is to make the screen further away so you can have more visibility. This is up to personal preference, but I said about 130 is pretty alright. If you see it is getting late and you are about 10 or less floors to level 100, I would recommend pausing for a moment and think if you have used a lot of staircases this run. It might be worth to use a few to get to floor 100 if you don't think you're going to make it. This is what I did on my latest 100 days of gameplay, by the way. Of course, I would only do this if I really wanted to meet Mr. Key that run, because if we have no reason to get there, because we already drank the milk, or if we have not read the secret note already, then don't worry about it. It's okay if you only make it to floor 90 something today. My last tip for diving would be not to go to bed. Yes, it is true that when you pass out at 2 AM you will lose some money, but you actually don't lose anything from your inventory. So nothing that you have collected this run, or your cheeses, or your sword is at risk. This is especially great when you're broke, since it is basically a free ride home by Linus.
It's free.
But the amount of money you may lose is actually not as much as the gold you can make by selling iridium bars and other goodies you find diving for an extra hour or 2. So don't worry, in this instance it's okay to slip in the mines. But now, if you really don't want to lose that money, I would recommend bringing a farm ware totem, which you can leave in a chest right outside the mines so it doesn't occupy space in your inventory while diving, and it still saves you time in the bus and walking home. Those should be all my tips for when you're actually diving. Give this a try, be sure to prepare well, and I'm sure you will get there in no time. So, this should be it. I really hope these tips helped you and that you get to floor 100 with loads and loads of iridium. If you learned something new, consider liking the video and subscribing, since that helps me a lot and it makes me super happy. Comment iridium so I know that you're a real one that watched this far. If you would be interested in seeing me attempt to get to floor 100 as a normal gal, then feel free to check out this livestream I made a few weeks ago. Almost all of the clips I used in this video are from that stream. There, you can see all my 3 attempts at getting to floor 100, the last one being the successful one. And also, at the very end, I did a run with my preferred equipment, so nicer rings, an upgraded pickaxe, statues of blessing, and whatnot. So feel free to check that out too. If I missed any tip that you use, do share, so that more of us can make the most out of Skull Caverns. But anyway, my name is Mrs Smuthy, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!
This is free real estate.